Yo, good morning. Freedom marchers, freedom family, freedom lovers, and freedom fighters. How y'all doing this morning? It's Monday, Monday, January 13th, 2024. And I'm on my way just now back to Georgia. Now, I was supposed to do live streams yesterday when I was supposed to be on my way back to Georgia yesterday, but something came over me and I felt like shit yesterday, man. I was laid up in bed. Kelvin Black was good. I was laid up, you know what I'm saying? My stomach was upset. I don't know what happened. But I will say this. Saturday night, me and my wife went to a cigar lounge. All right, went to a cigar lounge to hang out, and we had a top shelf cigar, so that was provided at the cigar lounge, and it was a great cigar, very smooth, but having not smoked in a long time, I haven't actually inhaled tobacco since maybe 2007. But anyway, so I think the cigar might have made me sick to my stomach, because when I got home, I was definitely sick to my stomach when I got home Saturday night. And after a couple of hours, I felt better. You know what I'm saying? I put some food in my belly. You know what I'm saying? I hadn't eaten, really. But anyway, so sick to my stomach. You know what I'm saying? Ate some food, slept it off, got up in the morning, and, I was doing some work on the computer, and then I started feeling like shit. Like, my stomach started acting up again, and I actually had to throw up. So, I don't know if it was the cigar still, but I was out of it yesterday. Yesterday, I was just, the whole day, I was weak, tired, you know what I mean? Throwing up. And I'm like, ain't no way a cigar did all this, right? My little sinus infection started acting up. And I noticed, I noticed that you guys, I don't know what's going on in the world today, man, but you really got to watch what you put in your body. You know what I'm saying? Got to be careful what you put in your body, because every now and then your body will detox. And I think that's what my body was doing yesterday. I feel better today. I still feel a little out of it, but I do have enough strength to drive these 4 hours back to work and all that good shit. So that's what I did. But yeah, anyway, there's a lot of shit going around there saying norovirus, the flu is acting up. Interestingly though, no one's really talking about the Modelo 19. I find that very interesting. Not a lot of people are complaining about having a Modelo. Isn't that interesting? Anyway, moving on. So, shit. Man, hold on, y'all. My bad, y'all. I had to do something real quick. But anyway, I just wanted to give a little update on what the ATF, the terrorist organization, the government-sanctioned terrorist organization known as the ATF, has going on. All right. So, shout out to Jared from Guns and Gadgets for bringing this to my attention. Y'all go check his channel out. He is a Pro 2A guy he's really a statist, but it is what it is. He still is Pro 2A. And he likes to think that he's pro freedom, but he has a little bit of work to do in that regard, right? Anyway, so apparently some guy or some individual sent a letter to the ATF asking about the pistol brace rule, right? The pistol brace rule and all that good shit, and SBRs and all this and that. And they were asking, you know, would I need to register this weapon if it had certain features, right? Now, mind you, in the courts, the judges said, multiple judges, right? It went through multiple stages, right? The pistol brace rule lawsuit by the Firearms Policy Coalition and other entities went through multiple stages until ultimately the rule was thrown out, right? The rule was thrown out. And, you know, basically they cannot enforce the pistol brace rule. They cannot do it. It's just not, it's not legal. It's not legal, right? They're not allowed to do it according to courts, right? So they're not supposed to enforce this rule. Now, when this guy asked about his pistol brace and whether or not he would have to register it and all this, that, and the third, he wrote a letter to the ATF, and the ATF told this guy, yo, yeah, we're definitely, you need to register that. Yeah, we're going to enforce this and enforce that. So that proves what I've always been saying about the bureaucracies of the executive branch. Now, the court is part of the judicial branch, right? It's supposed to bring balance to the other branches. It's supposed to balance the power, right? So that one branch does not have ultimate power over, you know, the government, over the people, whatever. But clearly, the ATF feels like they don't have to they can disregard what the courts ruled about the pistol brace rule, right? They feel like, oh, well, we can do whatever the fuck we want to do. And think about it. They really can. They really can. You know why? The judicial branch, the judges, they do not have armed enforcers or the authority. They don't have the power to issue arrest. They can issue an arrest warrant, but they cannot bring themselves the arrest warrant, right? They're supposed to go, right? So the executive branch, when they want to arrest somebody, they got to go to members of the judicial branch, get a warrant, and place people under arrest. Well, judges cannot do that, right? The court system, they don't have an enforcement arm, right? The ATF does. The ATF is an enforcement arm of the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice is part of the executive branch. The executive branch can and will order, you know, certain things to happen. Now, they have to go through the court system, of course. So that ultimately means that if the ATF wants to arrest somebody for violating the pistol brace rule, well, they'll have to go through court to actually convict someone. But Anarchy Television, what's good, man? But here's the problem with that. Sometimes the ATF, when they do their raids, do not allow anyone to live to see court because they kill them, right? They'll kill them. You know what I'm saying? And even if they don't have the grounds for a conviction, which they obviously wouldn't, right? Because the pistol brace rule was thrown out. They can still perform, you know what I'm saying? They can still harass people. They can still, you know, threaten people's, you know, they can still go to court and an empathetic judge with the ATF, depending on how the ATF writes the request for the warrant, can go ahead and, you know, attack people and commit terroristic acts. You know what I'm saying? The ATF has proven itself to be a terrorist organization. And so just by that, we know that this whole thing they have set up, how the government structure is, how we got the 3 branches, we got all this, we got that. If you do not have an enforcement arm, if you know what I'm saying, if there's only one branch that has the guys with the guns to do what they will, well, then the other branches really have no power to do that. It's perceived to be that way, but if you really think about it, they really don't. They really don't. They don't have any power. And so the ATF is going to do what it wants to do. And that's why it's up to us as individuals, as human beings, to ensure that our rights are protected. We cannot rely on government to protect our rights. We cannot rely on government to live our lives as we see fit. We cannot leave it up to government to allow us to mind our own business, because they're not going to mind their own business. So that's how it works. The ATF wants to continue to enforce its rule, its pistol brace rule. Why? Well, because they don't want people to live free. That whole firearm, national fire, I forgot what the fuck it's called. NFA, the NFA is an illegal, listen, not even illegal, it's a criminal. It is a criminal law. It's a criminal man-made edict, right? To charge somebody for a tax stamp because they want a firearm that shoots multiple bullets with a single trigger pull, because they want to have some explosives, right? They want to have grenades, they want to have a rocket launcher. I don't understand what the problem is. If a person is a responsible adult and they want to own fully automatic weapons, they want to own grenades and grenade launchers and Abrams tank, you know what I'm saying? They have every right to own that. Why? Because they are tools. They are tools, and they are human beings. And one human being does not have special privileges, or they're not more special than another person because they wear a badge or, wear a uniform, right? Right? Because that's how they justify banning these weapons, by telling you that these are weapons of war. If you're not wearing a uniform, if you're not wearing a badge, you should not be able to own these weapons. But those individuals in those uniforms and behind those badges are just regular human beings. They're just trained. They have been trained in the proper use and safety, in the safe use of those firearms, and the safe storage, and how to clean them. All you got to do is learn how to do that stuff. You can learn that. You can find a veteran who has experience with those things, and you can have them train you how to use those weapons properly, right? They'll happily do it. I myself would happily do it as a veteran. I know how to use many of those so-called weapons of war. Because, face it, if every human being within your land, within your country, does not own weapons of war, right? And, well, when you prove yourself to be dangerous to others, irresponsible, right? Well, that's when, you shouldn't be able to enjoy those things. But as long as you demonstrate that you're safe and that you're responsible, that you don't plan on harming anyone, you should be able to own all that shit. See, the pistol brace, this is symbolic, right? The fight for the pistol brace. A lot of people would probably wonder, like, why is it so important to have this pistol brace? Why is it so important? Well, in reality, let's face it. The pistol brace allows you to have a short-barreled rifle without registering it and without paying for the tax stamp. I mean, it is what it is. The pistol brace, it has a padding on the end where it is extendable in some cases, and you can shoulder it. See, that's when they say, oh, well, you know, oh, if you can shoulder it, then it's a short barrel rifle. Therefore, it falls under the NFA. Well, okay, that doesn't mean ban the pistol brace. That means get rid of the motherfucking NFA. And if this new Congress and Senate and Donald Trump were really about that life, that'd be one of the first things they do, y'all. Oh, man. Y'all pardon me, man. I'm going through a hell of a detox right now. Going through a hell of a detox. Anyway, so yeah, they call it sickness, the cold, whatever name they want to slap on it. You know, to me, germ theory is still germ theory. And as far as I know, no one has no scientific entity and convention or, you know, anybody has said that it's germ fact yet. So, because they have done research and they have done studies and experiments that conclude that passing the so-called germ from one person to another does not necessarily make that other person sick. They would take multiple people in a room or whatever, and they'll be in there for a few days or a few weeks. One person would be sick with this germ. They take that germ directly from that individual's nasal passage and all that shit, and they'll give it to another individual, and that person would not get sick. And this would happen to multiple people in the same room. One person would be sick, they'd pass the germs on, right? And the other person, multiple people would not get sick. So, again, you know, there are people who had the Modelo 19 and they would be around a bunch of people in their house, right? And the other people would not get Modelo 19. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, I think I'm going through some type of detox. That's all. I'll be all right. So, anyway, yeah. So there you have that, y'all. There you have that. The ATF they're equipped, right? If they wanted to say fuck the courts, fuck, you know, the legislative branch. I mean, this is what the executive branch can do anyway. Think about it. Under martial law, the executive branch takes ultimate power, and the particular entity of that judicial branch, of that executive branch, is the military. So if they could have martial law where the military would be the ones in ultimate power, and the general, right, the chief of staff, right, the chief of staff of the ultimate chief, I forgot what the top chief of staff guy is, what they call him, but he would basically be taking over power over the president. He would assume power over the president in certain cases. Well, how come that's not capable? How come the judicial branch and legislative branch aren't capable of that? Think about it. Well, how many senators and congresspeople are armed? How many of them can arrest people? How many judges and lawyers and prosecutors and all that can arrest you? They can't. They can't. Why? Because they don't have the weapons. They don't have the arrest power, right? They don't have the facilities to lock you up when they kidnap you. These are all things that are under the purview of the executive branch. So that executive branch has the ultimate power, y'all. They have the ultimate power. Yeah, right now they're playing the game, right? The checks and balance game, right? They're playing the game. But at the end of the day, think about it. Look at when there's Senate hearings and all that shit. When they call people and they do subpoenas and all that shit. And these people show up, they lie, they clearly lie, right? They clearly prove themselves to be criminals against the people. But, I mean, that's all that happens. And they going about their day. Like, these senators, they can't place you under arrest, right? Right? They can fine you in contempt like they did Merrick Garland. They found Merrick Garland in contempt, nothing happened to him. Why? Because he's the attorney fucking general. He's the top cop of DOJ. And nothing happened. But when they found Rudy Giuliani in contempt, they arrested him. Why? Because the DOJ said, okay, we'll arrest him. Simple as that. Right? If the senators say, hey, go arrest that guy, he's in contempt, they don't have to do it. They don't have to do it. They can pick and choose who they want to place under arrest based on the request from the senators, you know what I mean, of the hearing, of the judicial hearing, whatever the fuck, whichever hearing that person that's being held in contempt is being called to. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Like, also, let's say it's just bullshit. A prosecutor can say, hey, I am going to pursue a prosecution against this individual based on the evidence the popo gives me. Well, if the individual that committed the crime is, connected and, they're bribing the police department and all that other shit. Listen, it happens all the time. It happens all the time. Plenty of police officers, plenty of FBI agents, plenty of other, executive branch entity members. They can be bribed. They can be bought. And if you have the right pool and the right amount of money and the right connections, you can escape any arrest or any suspicion for that matter. So just so you guys know, I wanted to present this to you guys so you understand. The ATF does not care what the court said about the pistol brace rule. That they threw it out. Like, you can't enforce it. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens if anything happens further. We'll see. But I just wanted to let you guys know that the ATF basically said that they require you to still register, but we know that they're not supposed to be enforcing that, so it is what it is. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Anarchy Television, thank you for coming through. Kelvin Black, thank you for coming through. Real quick, Anarchy Television says weapons of war in civilian hands is the whole point of the Second Amendment. Exactly. Basically it. Yeah, that's the whole point. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Much love. Like, share, subscribe, and we're gonna keep marching forward toward freedom. And remember, the executive branch of the government has the ultimate power. All right, peace.